break now. The vetting of the 51 principal secretary nominees is set to resume after the Labour Court dismissed the 3 petitions challenging the vetting process. Justice Matthews and Derry threw away the petitions challenging President William Ruto's 51 nominees, saying they had been filed prematurely. Following the ruling, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has announced that the vetting will resume on Wednesday. The vetting of the principal secretaries had been halted after the Law Society of Kenya challenged the nomination on the basis of failing to meet gender, regional and tribal balance. Justice Nderi, in his ruling, however, said the court can only be approached once the National Assembly has concluded the vetting process and written its report. Permanent secretaries to be vetted include Dr. Belio Kipsang for Education, Mary Muthoni Murioki for the Ministry of Interior, and Beatrice Inyangala for the Higher Education and Research, among others.
You know, our investment and our engagement in DRC is not unilateral. It is pursuant to head of states agreement and resolution to the East African countries to engage in DRC. So we are not doing it unilaterally. The countries agreed, the head of states agreeing. So the commander-in-chief in our country is doing, and what he's doing is in pursuant to that agreement. But nevertheless, the other countries are already engaged. In fact, South Sudan, I think, is already engaged. Burundi is already engaged. Rwanda is already engaged on their side of the boundary. Uganda as well. The only country that is not as engaged as we speak, and I'm sure they would, and that is within their domestic discussion, is Tanzania. So it's not a unilateral decision. It is a shared responsibility within the East Africa.
The number one thing that we must really do, Mr. Chair, is to make sure that from the Ministry of Labour that we are very, very clear about what are the terms of engagement for our work, for our citizens who are working in Saudi Arabia and other countries. We would like to have that information availed to us as early as possible. We will develop a joint monitoring mechanism between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Labour, so that no Kenyan should be able to exit our borders to go and work in a particular jurisdiction, particularly in the Middle East.
You recall that on 15 November 2022, the Employment and Labour Relations Court in Constitution Petition number E186 of 2022, Dr. Magare Gikenyi versus the President of the Republic of Kenya and 55 others, and in Constitution Petition number E192 of 2022, Law Society of Kenya versus the National Assembly and 4 others, granted ex parte conservatory orders temporarily staying the vetting process in respect of nominees for appointment to the position of principal secretaries pending hearing and determination of the petitioner's application. Pension of the vetting of persons nominated to serve as principal secretaries is hereby lifted. The committees are therefore expected to resume the vetting process immediately. 2, that all departmental committees are to conclude the vetting proceedings and approval hearings as soon as possible to allow for the conclusion of the process. In any case, noting that the House will be commencing the long recess on 2nd December 2022 in accordance with its calendar, it is expected that the committees will hasten the process and report to the House by the end of the morning sitting of Thursday, 1st December 2022, to pave way for consideration of the various approval motions by the House.